Have you ever walked into a place and instantly felt like you didn't belong? Maybe the energy was heavy, the conversation was draining, or the people made you feel like an afterthought rather than a welcome guest. As we grow older, we realize that not every place deserves our presence, and not every home is a safe space for our peace and happiness. In today's video, we'll uncover 7 types of homes you should avoid visiting in your later years. Homes that steal your joy, disrupt your peace, and make you question your worth. Watch until the end, because protecting your energy is just as important as protecting your health. By the final point, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to walk away without guilt and embrace the freedom to choose where and with whom you spend your precious time. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you liked this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know so I can make a better video for you. Now, let's get started. 1. The home where you are not truly welcome. There are few things more disheartening than stepping into a place where you feel tolerated rather than truly welcomed. It's not always in the words people say, it's in their eyes, their body language, and the unspoken energy of the room. Maybe you walk in, and the greeting is polite but distant. Their smiles don't quite reach their eyes, their conversations feel like an obligation rather than a joy, and they glance at the clock more often than they look at you. You sit down, but there's no warmth in the air. The conversations are short, surface level, and lack the natural flow of two people who genuinely enjoy each other's company. You sense it, the feeling that your presence is something they are merely enduring rather than celebrating. And when you leave, you don't feel refreshed or fulfilled. Instead, there's an emptiness, a lingering sadness, and the painful question, why did I even come here? Life is too short to spend your precious time in places that drain you rather than uplift you. You have spent years nurturing relationships, showing up for others, and giving your heart to the people you care about. But relationships should be mutual, not one-sided. There comes a point when you must ask yourself, am I visiting out of love or out of obligation? Am I showing up because I want to, or because I feel like I have to? You have the right to choose where you invest your energy. A home should be a place of warmth, not cold indifference. It should be a space where you are met with genuine enthusiasm, where people are happy to see you walk through the door and sad to see you leave. You deserve to be with those who make you feel valued, who lean in when you speak, who ask how you've been because they truly want to know, not because it's a formality. When you were younger, you may have tolerated being in spaces where you weren't fully appreciated, but as you grow older, you realize that peace of mind is more important than fulfilling social expectations. You are not obligated to be anywhere that makes you feel small, unseen, or unimportant. Your time is precious. Every moment you spend with someone should be filled with mutual respect, joy, and sincerity. If a place leaves you feeling unwanted, then it is no longer a home, it is merely a building, a space where your presence is neither needed nor cherished. And you deserve more than that. So, give yourself permission to walk away. Not with bitterness, not with anger, but with the quiet confidence of someone who understands their worth. You do not need to beg for a place in anyone's life. You deserve to be where you are celebrated, where your presence is a gift, not an obligation. Choose to spend your time with those who truly cherish you, because life is too short to waste another second feeling like an afterthought. If you're still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment 2 below to let me know you're still here with me. Thank you for taking the time to watch. 2. The home ruled by drama and negativity. There are some homes where, The moment you step inside, you can feel the weight of negativity hanging in the air. It's not always loud, but it's there, lurking in the tension-filled silence, the passive-aggressive remarks, and the sharp tone of voices that echo through the rooms. In these spaces, joy feels like a distant memory, and peace is a stranger. Conversations are laced with complaints, grudges, and gossip, as if happiness is something to be dissected rather than celebrated. Every word feels like an invitation to an argument, and no matter how hard you try to stay neutral, you leave feeling drained, burdened by conflicts that were never yours to carry. Life is too precious to spend in places that rob you of your inner calm. As you get older, you come to understand that peace is not just a luxury, it is a necessity. You have weathered enough storms, faced enough challenges, and carried enough responsibilities. The time you have now should be spent in places that fill your heart with warmth, not spaces where chaos reigns. Yet, many people find themselves trapped in these environments, afraid to step away because of history, family ties, or a misplaced sense of obligation. But ask yourself, at what cost? What does it do to your spirit when every visit leaves you exhausted, when every conversation drains you, when the weight of their negativity clings to you long after you leave? There is no honor in subjecting yourself to an atmosphere of constant hostility. You are not obligated to endure spaces where conflict is a daily ritual, where arguments are louder than laughter, and where love is overshadowed by resentment. If a home feels more like a battlefield than a sanctuary, it is time to walk away. This does not mean you don't care. It simply means you care enough about yourself to choose peace over turmoil. You have the right to protect your mental and emotional well-being. You have the right to be in spaces where kindness is spoken more than criticism, where understanding replaces judgment, and where warmth is given freely, not grudgingly. When you choose peace, you are not abandoning anyone, you are saving yourself. It is not selfish to remove yourself from environments that poison your spirit. It is not unkind to distance yourself from those who refuse to grow beyond their anger. You can love people from a distance without allowing their turmoil to consume you. You can wish them well without sacrificing your own happiness. Life is too short to waste another moment in spaces that steal your joy. Choose to be where love flows freely, where laughter is abundant, and where your soul feels at home. Because in the end, peace is not something you stumble upon, it is something you choose. And you deserve to choose it every single time. If you're still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment 3 below to let me know you're still here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 3. The home that only calls when they need something. There are some homes where your presence is not a joy, but a convenience. The invitations are few, the check-ins are rare, and the only time they remember your name is when they need something. At first, you tell yourself it's just life. People get busy, responsibilities pile up, and schedules become hectic. But then you start noticing a pattern. They don't call to ask how you've been. They don't visit to simply spend time with you. But when they need a favor, when they need help, when they are in trouble, suddenly, they remember you. And in those moments, they speak to you with warmth, with kindness, with familiarity, as if no time has passed. Yet the moment their needs are met, they fade back into the background, vanishing until the next time they require something from you. This kind of relationship is not built on love, it is built on utility. And if you are not careful, you may find yourself trapped in a cycle of giving, hoping for appreciation that never truly comes. But here's the hard truth: you were not put on this earth to be someone's backup plan. You were not meant to exist solely as a source of help when it is convenient for others. Your kindness, your generosity, your willingness to be there for people should be cherished, not taken for granted. A real relationship is built on reciprocity, not one where you are always giving and they are always taking. It is painful to realize that some people only value what you can do for them, rather than who you are. But you must ask yourself, if I had nothing to offer, if I could no longer help, no longer give, no longer serve, would they still call? Would they still care? If the answer is no, then the relationship was never built on love. It was built on convenience. And you deserve more than that. You deserve relationships where your presence is appreciated even when you have nothing to give. You deserve friends and family who check on you simply because they care, who invite you not because they need something but because they miss your laughter, your stories, your company. You deserve to feel valued for who you are, not just what you can provide. So, if you find yourself constantly walking through a door that only opens when someone needs something, take a step back. It is not selfish to set boundaries. It is not cruel to stop showing up for people who only remember you when it benefits them. Protect your energy. Protect your time. Choose to invest in relationships that pour back into you, that fill your heart rather than deplete it. Because at the end of the day, your presence should never feel like a transaction. You are worth more than that. You always have been. If you're still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment below to let me know you're still here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. For the home where you feel like a burden. There are few feelings more painful than realizing you are not truly wanted somewhere, that your presence is not a joy, but an obligation. You step into a home, hoping for warmth, for connection, for a simple moment of togetherness, but instead, you are met with indifference. Their smiles feel forced, their greetings are distant, and their conversations are short, lacking any real interest in your thoughts or your well-being. You try to engage, to share a story, to find common ground, but their eyes wander, their attention drifts, and before long, you realize the truth. You are not really part of this space. You are merely someone they are tolerating. And nothing stings quite like feeling like an inconvenience in a place where you once believed you belonged. This realization is heartbreaking, but it is also liberating. Because once you see the truth, you are faced with a choice. Continue placing yourself in environments where you feel small, or choose to honor your worth and walk away. It is not selfish to remove yourself from places that do not welcome you with open arms. It is not wrong to protect your heart from the pain of being treated like an afterthought. Too often, we tell ourselves that we must endure discomfort for the sake of family, for the sake of history, for the sake of keeping the peace. But at what cost? Your peace is just as important. Your happiness matters just as much. You should never have to shrink yourself just to fit into someone else's world. A home should be a place where love flows freely, where your presence is greeted with warmth, where you feel seen, heard, and appreciated. If that is not what you are receiving, then it is time to step back and ask yourself, why am I forcing myself into a space where I am not truly wanted? If being in that home leaves you feeling drained, questioning your worth, or worse, like a burden, it is not a home at all. It is simply a place. And you deserve more than to just exist in the background of someone else's life. You have spent a lifetime giving, caring, and showing up for people. Now, it is your turn to choose yourself. You deserve to be where you are celebrated, not tolerated. Where your presence is a gift, not a responsibility. Where people are happy to see you, not merely polite because they have to be. So, walk away, not with resentment, not with anger, but with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth. The right people, the ones who truly love and appreciate you, will always make space for you. And those who don't, They were never your home to begin with. 5. The home where you are disrespected. There is a deep pain that comes with being in a place where you are not respected. It is not always in the form of harsh words or outright cruelty. Sometimes, it's in the way your voice is ignored, your presence is dismissed, or your wisdom is brushed aside as if it holds no value. You may sit in a room, surrounded by people you've known for years, yet feel invisible. You begin to notice the way they interrupt you mid-sentence, the way they roll their eyes when you share your thoughts, the way they dismiss your experiences as outdated or irrelevant. And slowly, without saying a word, they make you feel as if you don't belong. This is not the life you deserve. After all the years you have lived, the lessons you have learned, and the love you have given, you should be surrounded by people who cherish and respect you, not those who belittle, disregard, or mock you. Respect is not a privilege that you must beg for. It is a basic human need. If a home does not offer you that, then it is not a home. It is simply a space where your worth is not acknowledged. And you deserve better than that. Perhaps, for a long time, you told yourself that this treatment was normal. Maybe you believed that enduring their impatience, their condescension, their dismissive attitudes was just a part of life. But the truth is, no one, at any age, should have to tolerate disrespect. You are not here to be silenced. You are not here to be ignored. You have lived, you have learned, and your voice carries the weight of experience. Anyone who refuses to recognize that is revealing more about themselves than about you. Their lack of respect does not define your worth. But your willingness to tolerate it does define the boundaries you set for yourself. So, what will you choose? Will you continue to sit in rooms where you are treated as an afterthought? Or will you stand up, walk away, and reclaim the dignity you have always deserved? You are not required to stay where you are not valued. You do not have to endure conversations that make you feel small or relationships that erode your self-respect. Instead, you can choose to surround yourself with people who listen when you speak, who see the depth of your wisdom, and who respect you not just because of your age, but because of who you are. Walking away from disrespect is not arrogance, it is self-respect. And if there is a home that consistently makes you feel anything less than cherished, then leave it behind. Not with anger, not with resentment, but with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth. You have spent too many years becoming the person you are today to allow anyone to make you feel unimportant. Stand tall, hold your head high, and walk toward the spaces where you are honored, not merely tolerated. 6. The home that harms your mental health. There are some homes where, the moment you step inside, you feel a weight settle over you, a heaviness that lingers long after you leave. Maybe it's the unspoken tension in the air, the coldness between the people inside, or the quiet hostility that seeps into every interaction. Maybe it's not loud arguments or cruel words, but something more subtle, a constant negativity that drains you, a sense of unease that follows you home. You try to brush it off, tell yourself you're imagining things, but deep down, you know the truth. This place does not bring you peace. It steals it. And every time you visit, a piece of you leaves feeling more exhausted, more emotionally depleted than before. Your mental health is just as important as your physical well-being. Yet, how often do we allow ourselves to remain in places that chip away at our happiness? We tell ourselves we must endure it because it's family, because we have history, because we don't want to cause problems. But at what cost? Your mind is not a dumping ground for other people's negativity. Your heart is not a sponge meant to absorb the stress, bitterness, or dysfunction of others. Just as you would avoid a place filled with toxic air, you must also protect yourself from environments that are emotionally suffocating. Perhaps you've felt this before. You leave a certain home, And instead of feeling refreshed, you feel drained. Instead of clarity, you feel confusion. Instead of warmth, you feel sadness. That is your soul telling you something isn't right. And you should listen. Life is too short to continuously expose yourself to spaces that make you feel worse instead of better. Some people might try to make you feel guilty for stepping away, for setting boundaries, for choosing your mental peace over their dysfunction. But here's what you must remember. Choosing peace is not selfish. It is necessary. You cannot save people who refuse to change. You cannot heal a home that is determined to stay broken. And you cannot sacrifice your own happiness in the hopes that one day, things might be different. Some battles are not yours to fight. So, if a home is filled with constant tension, hostility, or emotional exhaustion, give yourself permission to leave. Not out of hatred, not out of resentment, but out of love for yourself. You have spent too many years building yourself into the person you are today. Why let someone else's chaos undo that? Surround yourself with spaces that make you feel safe, with people who uplift rather than drain you. You are allowed to choose joy. You are allowed to walk away. And most of all, you are allowed to protect your peace, because your happiness is worth it. 7. The home that no longer aligns with your growth. There comes a time in life when you realize that not every place, not every relationship, and not every tradition is meant to follow you into your next chapter. You step into certain homes, once filled with laughter and familiarity, and suddenly, something feels different. The conversations feel shallow, the energy feels stagnant, and the connection you once shared with the people inside has faded into something distant, something forced. You've grown, evolved, and changed, but the space around you has stayed the same. And in that moment, you understand, this place no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Growth is a natural part of life, but not everyone grows with you. Some people remain stuck in old habits, in outdated mindsets, and cycles of negativity that you have worked so hard to leave behind. You try to reconnect, to hold onto the past, but the more you do, the more you realize you no longer fit in the way you once did. The conversations that once excited you now feel exhausting. The behaviors you used to accept now make you uncomfortable. The things that once made sense now feel empty, meaningless. And the hardest truth to accept is this: sometimes, you have to let go of places and people that no longer nurture your growth. This does not mean you love them any less. It does not mean you forget the memories or the bonds you once shared. But life is about moving forward, not standing still. You cannot shrink yourself to fit into a space that no longer fits you. You cannot keep visiting places that make you feel like a stranger in your own life. Growth requires change, and change requires courage. The courage to step away from what no longer serves you and walk toward what does. It is not easy to distance yourself from people you once considered family, from places that once felt like home. But you must ask yourself, am I staying because I truly belong here, or because I am afraid of letting go? If you leave a home feeling emotionally drained, misunderstood, or unfulfilled, that is your heart telling you it's time to move on. And moving on is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of self-respect. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to seek environments that inspire you, challenge you, and bring you peace. The right people, the right places, will embrace the person you are becoming, not try to hold you back to who you used to be. So let go, not with anger, not with guilt, but with gratitude for what once was and faith in what's to come. Your growth is a gift. Do not dim it to make others comfortable. Keep moving forward, because the best chapters of your life are still waiting to be written. As you walk through life, One of the most powerful realizations you will come to is that your time, your energy, and your peace are the most valuable things you have. In youth, we often feel obligated to please, to endure, to show up even when it drains us, to maintain relationships even when they no longer nourish us. But as you grow older, you begin to understand something profound. You do not owe anyone your presence at the cost of your happiness. Life is too fleeting to spend in places that steal your joy, in conversations that leave you empty, or with people who do not see your worth. One of the most important lessons you will ever learn is that time is your greatest treasure. Once spent, you can never get it back. Every moment wasted in negativity, resentment, or unfulfilling relationships is a moment you could have spent in peace, in laughter, in love. You owe it to yourself to choose where you invest your time wisely. Imagine if, instead of forcing yourself to be in places where you feel unseen, you spent your days with people who truly appreciate and celebrate you. Imagine how much lighter your heart would feel if you let go of burdens that were never yours to carry. Walking away from what no longer serves you is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of self-respect. You have spent your life giving your love, your care, your patience, your time. But giving should never come at the cost of your own well-being. You are allowed to say no to spaces that bring you pain. You are allowed to step back from relationships that no longer feel meaningful. You are allowed to choose yourself. And in doing so, you are not abandoning others. You are honoring your own heart. True happiness is not found in forced relationships or empty obligations. It is found in genuine connections, with people who uplift you, who listen when you speak, who love you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. It is found in places that feel like home, where you can truly exhale and be at peace. Let go of the idea that you must hold on to everything simply because it has always been there. Not everything is meant to stay in your life forever. And that is okay. So choose wisely. Choose peace over conflict. Choose joy over obligation. Choose the people who fill your soul rather than deplete it. Life is too short to be spent anywhere other than where you are truly valued. And the most beautiful thing? The moment you start choosing yourself, you will realize that the people, the places, and the experiences meant for you have been waiting all along. Step forward, without guilt, without hesitation, because you deserve nothing less than a life that brings you peace.